Okay, so good morning, everyone, and to those of you who are live, and good morning to those of you who are joining the call on the recorded version. This is the November 21st, second call for the month, and let's begin. So I love that because it definitely shows that this is of course, this is a program, a reinforcement program that's based on laws of science, laws of brain science and neuroscience, as well as best practices of elite performers. So here's our call today. And remember, I put this in red because I changed from the original. The next call for December will be December 12th, and then on the 19th. And of course, these calls are always subject to my speaking schedule, so they may be changing along the way. So today we're going to talk about, after our check-in, we're going to talk about testimonials. We're going to talk about the power of words. We're going to talk about what influences attention. Morning, Tony. And so let's begin. And so with the check-in. So first of all, Ken, who cannot be on the call today, most of the call content is in reaction to some of Ken's comments. And one of the things that Ken had mentioned to me is that why isn't this call more focused on the weight management, on the food plan? And Ken expressed that. And it was interesting to me. You can unmute yourself, Michael, because I'm going to ask for some feedback. It was interesting because the design of this call was and is to support the weight management program. Now, however, there are people, this is an interesting phenomenon, and hold on just a second. It's California, in Southern California, heat in the morning, air in the afternoon. I have to go turn the heat off now. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, it's interesting that there are several people in this program that are not using, I shouldn't say several, I should say some people in this program that are not interested in the weight management, and instead they're in this program for the personal development. Well, it goes hand in hand because the weight management, once somebody understands what the food program is, what the plan is, and what the boundaries are, then it's all about self-development. It's all about mindset. It's all about, I love these, if you write these two words down, it's all about being willing to allow the program to work. Now, think about those two words, being willing to allow the program to work, because it's 100% that if people that are exposed to this will eat according to the boundaries of what we have, it's 100% that they're going to have the results being their maintenance weight over time. But think about that. And again, write those two words down, willing and allow. There needs to be a surrender to the program. And the surrender means that I need to be willing to be uncomfortable and to sit in the sensation of being uncomfortable when I'm having this feeling that ordinarily I would stuff this feeling by eating. And so that is a circumstance that most people are never allow themselves to get into, is noticing being uncomfortable, noticing the sensations, because all we've done all our life is stuff those sensations by eating. And that's a matter of retraining ourselves, of creating the neural pathways of responding differently. That's why the meditation is so important, because as I've mentioned many, many times, the meditation strengthens the orbital frontal cortex, which is where willpower is. And the meditation also grows new tissue in a fold underneath the cortex called the insula, which is the area of the brain that we have sensations. We are aware of the anxiety. We're aware of what we might misinterpret as hunger. So really the two words that come to my mind is being willing to allow this program to produce the results. And both of those words, willingness and to allow. There's nothing magical about this. It's all biochemistry. It's all about how the brain works and how the brain responds to the chemical processes of the different types of food, and of course the poisonous inflammatory nature of flour and sugar. Those are what the issues are. So I wanted to talk about also from some of the feedback that I got was, so anyway, the going back to this initial feedback, which was looking at why isn't this program more geared towards the weight management, and got this email in that one of your clients told me they're losing a pound a day. Would love to hear about other happy client stories. I like theory, but really endorsements are very powerful to your eating plan. Wonder why you are not mentioning much about the eating plan. Have you dropped it? Absolutely no, haven't dropped it. And I live it myself. Also, the other thing that comes to mind is preparation. And it seems that what you need to learn most, you teach, right? And that's certainly a case here. In my refrigerator, I have 1 serving of protein. So what does that mean? That means keeping the environment conducive to the results that we want. I better get out there and cook, because what's going to happen when I have that serving of protein, weighed and measured serving of protein for lunch today? What am I going to do for dinner? Well, it's just, I have the identity that I'm not going to, I will never eat flour and sugar again. I say that, and then we better go back to today. I'm not going to have flour and sugar, because the never is too big of a burden for us to carry. But so I know I'm not going to have flour and sugar, but preparation, there's no excuse. In our commitment to excellence, our program is our commitment to excellence. What's our program? Well, we wake up at a designated time. We do our meditation. If you do exercise, you're in exercise. We have our breakfast. Then we have we go about our business. We have 4 to 5 hours later. We have a pre-planned, already designated what we're going to have for lunch, and we have serenity around our food. We have preparation. Now, preparation is key. I would be negligent if I don't prepare. And so I will cook later on today. I will make sure that part of one of our coaching commandments is the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to control the things that I can control. I got to read this. I haven't memorized it. I have it memorized. The serenity to control the things I can control. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So one of the things I can control is my preparation. And so it would be negligent not to control my preparation. Now, the other thing, and Michael, you and I have talked about this on email, is about the declaration, the preparation in advance, and then the declaration. And if you're eating the same thing over and over again, same breakfast, so do I need to really write down every night that I'm going to have I have 1.5 ounces of oatmeal in maintenance, that I'm going to have 4 ounces of yogurt, that I'm going to have 6 ounces of fruit, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of flaxseed. Do I need to write that down every day if I'm going to have the same thing every day? No, I don't. But what I need to do is I need to declare in advance the night before that this is what I'm going to have, and I need to make sure that I have it, that I have the yogurt, that I have the eggs, that I have the flaxseed, that I have everything, oatmeal, and then if I look in the refrigerator, do I need to declare that I'm going to reach out and grab, I don't know if it's going to be a mixture of fish and chicken and steak, or just hamburgers, or just steak. It would, as long as it's prepared in advance, you're okay with same. But we don't want to get sloppy with our checklist, and there's a lot of power in measurement. But anyway, what about Thanksgiving? So, Michael, what are you going to do? How are you going to ensure that you stay on plan for Thanksgiving? And do you think that there's going to be any kind of a challenge for you?
Yeah, so I have a couple comments about that. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, first of all, when it comes to declaring my food, what I've noticed is my wife and I, when we prepare the meals once a week, we decide what we're going to have, and we'd have the kids get together, and they would pick a dinner and that type of thing. And once I started this meal plan, we noticed how many things we were eating that were terrible for us. For instance, just all carb meals, or like pizza with nothing but ranch, Anyway, since I started doing the program, my whole family is eating better. I will admit, though, that at times they say, well, Dad can't have sugar and Dad can't have flour, and this kind of thing, and they're supporting me in that. We went out to eat last night, and I had Buffalo Wild Wings, and I was looking at the menu for about 5 minutes, thinking, what am I gonna have, And then I found a salad, and they had a little bit of oil, and so with some chicken, and I got 6 ounces of chicken, and it worked out perfect.
That's right. Yes, and environment is interesting, because a couple things that you said, Michael, I want to talk about. One is your family sees you doing this, and my family is my wife and 2 children living with us, 16 and 14. 14. They don't eat this plan, but they see me. I'm the only one that does it in my house, but they see me do this. And that is a powerful message, to know that there is a plan, that there is something that they can be in reference to if they ever want to. And my son is in athletics, so he needs to burn a lot of calories. I really don't care. I mean, he needs to have a lot of carbohydrate. I don't care what he eats. Eat as much as you want. And still, they're still getting healthy food. But the biggest thing is that they're seeing that there is a way to do this. So it's a great, and every once in a while, my wife will have one of our meals. And so it's there for them if they want it. And going back to environment, I tell we want to buy our willpower at the store. And what that means is, don't have all this stuff that's going to be triggers for us, because this is all what's called signal tracking. It's about cues. And so I've got in the house, I've got a lot of not my food. In other words, flour and sugar that the kids eat. And the kids have pizza and they have all that stuff. But once we have created the identity, the neural tracks for ourselves, and created the habit, and what's necessary to create the habit is a high dose of accountability. Once we have our habits in place, I'm around that stuff and it really doesn't bother me. I still don't want to have things that I don't want to eat in view all the time, because I don't want to get those triggers. I don't want to get those cues. But if I'm worried about it, then of course it is our emergency action plan of accountability, such as I'll make this on the call. I will be cooking today, and so I'm not going to eat while I cook anything, not a bite, not a thing. If I do eat, if I don't make this deal, $100, anybody that checks in on me on this, if I do it, if I eat and I'm only going to, well, no, I'll be cooking chicken and steak. And I have a tendency just to eat while it's cooking. Is that done? No, not quite yet. And I mean, I'll eat a whole steak or two, but this shuts it down right away. Just making the declaration, I'm not going to eat anything while I'm cooking. That is our emergency action plan, turning to the behavior contract. Regarding Thanksgiving, I'll be going to, this is one of the mandatory in-law holidays. So I'll be going up to the in-laws with my family. And usually what I do is if I ask them what they're going to be having, and I might need to take something with me. Maybe I'll take my salad. And I'm not shy about it. When we sit down to start eat, my weighed and measured salad, make sure that I have that. I'll eyeball turkey. Again, I'm in maintenance. I'll eyeball turkey. I'll make sure that they're going to have vegetables. If they're not going to have the vegetables that I want, I'll bring 6 ounces of vegetables. So there is really no reason that I can't stay on the plan during Thanksgiving. There are going to be pastries. There's going to be lots of other stuff that's not my food that I will have no pull towards. If you're concerned about that, then make a contract. Send me an email. No getting off of the food plan during the holidays, or $500. Now, I tell you, that piece of pie is going to be in a leverage battle, internal dialogue. $500 versus the anticipated and memory of the pleasure of eating that pumpkin pie. What's going to win? Well, that highest pain, which is the penalty. So you'll remove the negotiation. All right, then anyway, if anybody, again, the strategy here is that if anybody has any concern about overeating on Thanksgiving, you just make a decision. What is your commitment? If your commitment is to excellence, which is our identity, what choice would you make in reference to a commitment to excellence? Well, maybe that choice is no flour, sugar. Maybe that choice is have as much turkey as you want. Maybe that choice is have as much vegetables as you want. Or maybe that choice is stay within our boundaries and bring something if you need to. And then if you need the extra push of accountability, you send an email to anybody in our group. You have all the email addresses, or to myself, and you put a high penalty on it. And now you've removed the negotiation. You have your structure in place. You are on purpose for Thanksgiving. And when I first learned about this program, it's all about a program, having a system. And I have this metrics and tracking. I've always taught that for business excellence, but it never dawned on me to have this be something for personal excellence and for food. And it's just brilliant. It's fantastic. So again, we go back to my first two comments, the words allow and being willing, because anybody who wants these results, if you allow it and you are willing, which means heavy duty on thought control, on mindset control. All right, I want to get to something else about the check-in from last time, and that was about testimonials. So remember, we stay off the scale. If you're just starting out, until you get into maintenance, you weigh yourself at the beginning of the month, and then not again, because our weight fluctuates considerably. We don't want to be obsessed with the scale. And again, the results have been fantastic. Michael, you're doing fantastic on the program, and just stay with the program, which means mental development and eating this way. And Tony is in maintenance, been in maintenance for a while, and Greg is adjusting how he's using this. When it fits his needs, he's doing it. But anyway, and anyway, one of the things was about client testimonials. Now, in terms of testimonials, all the marketing people say that testimonials are important, that people want to experience third party references, testimonials. And I've always been jaded. Now, this might be something I need to revisit, but I've been jaded about this. So let me give you a couple examples. All I have to say is fraud alert with testimonials. So I was considering being in business with this person who was doing LinkedIn marketing. And he has a software program where he does automatic requests for connections to a target marketplace on LinkedIn. And he was selling this uses of his software program, and people were asking him for references. So since I was considering being in business with him, he asked me to be one of his references, and he actually told me what to say. He also had an employee that he was giving out to potential clients as a reference. He had his sister he was giving out. Now, this was not announced. It's not announced that this is my employee and here's what she's going to tell you. No, it was a user of this system disguised as, and his sister, and then myself, a potential business partner who we told me what to say. I mean, really, these are testimonials. These are references. I don't put much stock in these references. And then it gets even worse. Check this out. This is, I have a favorite website here, Fiverr, Fiverr.com, where you can get really inexpensive flyers and graphics. I'm writing a new book. The new book is titled The Book on Accountability. Now, here's my introduction is the speaker who wrote the book on accountability. I think that's kind of cute. But anyway, let me blow this up. Check this out. Look at it. I would do here. I'll make it bigger. I would do a testimonial or product endorsement as a doctor. Look at that. For $5, you can buy a testimonial that is apparently going to have high credibility. And look at these other. I would do a natural testimonial for your product. I will do an excellent testimonial, promote your service. Or, I mean, these are hire a fake testimonial. And I just, it gets worse. It gets worse than this. Check this out. There's a YouTube video on how to fake a before and after photo. And it talks about lighting, it talks about shade and shadows, and this is the before and the after showing the definition. Nothing's changed other than the lighting and the pose, the position, and the shadows. Fake testimonial. And here's one, more ab definition with a different pose, and then you add shadow and light. I mean, it's just really, give me a break. So everybody and their brother, I mean, no matter what it is, eat seaweed, lose 100 pounds, take this pill, and then there's testimonials all over the place where people are saying, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. So I say, I don't put much faith into, I don't put any faith in I use myself as a testimonial. And there's my before and there's my after. And when I did that, somebody said to me, one of my coaching clients said to me, Photoshop is a wonderful thing, isn't it? It was joking, and I wouldn't even know how to Photoshop a picture like this. But if you look at this, somebody might look at this and say, oh, well, wait a minute. These pictures have been doctored, because if you look right here, it looks like something been done. And that is correct. Somebody took this into Photoshop and took out the background, because this is what I sent them. I sent them this picture. They took out the background. And this is what I say to you, do your before picture and your after picture. You do your after picture when you get into maintenance, which is the first 5 feet of height, 100 pounds, 8 inches taller, women 5 pounds per inch, men 7 pounds per inch. Then you're plus or minus 5 pounds, then you're in maintenance. Take your picture somewhere where you can take your after picture in the same location. And that's what this is. And it was startling, because I didn't notice this. It was just startling to to take my beer. So I use myself as a testimonial and will use you as a testimonial. However, some people say they still swear by testimonials. So here's one of my live coaching clients. And so you know that this program still is not having massive marketing, massive internet marketing. I have had many starts and stops with this, and I've spent a lot of money embracing failure is data, not failure, and on doing these internet marketing campaigns to get massive exposure. So I don't have massive exposure to this program. I use this program with my one-on-one clients where appropriate. And then the only other way that people find out about this is if they hear me speak. And many times organizations won't allow me to promote any products. And just like Michael, I mean, I didn't mention this program in the program that you heard me speak, but you read about it in the handout. So many times it's just not being marketed. But again, I go back to anyone who's using this is going to get the results if they allow the results to occur and they're willing to participate. So here's one of my live coaching clients. Check this out.
My name's Kevin, and I'm from Cape Coral, Florida. I've been using Bob Davies' food plan for 6 months now, and I've lost a total of 43 pounds. And it really wasn't that hard. You got to kind of stick to the plan, obviously, but I eat very well. I exercise, I feel great, and with this plan, I'm not hungry. I eat my 3 meals a day. I'm never hungry. If you use this plan, guaranteed you will lose weight.
I mean, every person, it's not that what I'm doing is magical. It's that there is a cause and effect in biochemistry. Here's another one. Check this out.
Yeah, Bob, we were talking today about the overall approach to changing our eating habits and getting rid of flour and sugars. Labor Day, my mom, 85, crashed and burned. Serious geriatric depression and tripping, falling, memory loss. We changed her doctors to a geriatric practitioner who exactly changed her diet to remove flours and sugar, and we take her to exercise 2 days a week. In 8 weeks, I have my mom back. Memory, she's setting goals for herself, doing all those things, laughing, and having fun again, and enjoying a good quality of life that she had lost not too many months ago.
Yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. So the flour and sugar. So what else are we up against? Well, we're up against this always. As always, the natural human instinct of avoiding the things that are most perceived either consciously or not consciously as highest level pain and driven to seek comfort. So this is what the operating program is for the human brain. And of course, what I started off talking about today is just being okay to sit in being uncomfortable, sit in the tension, the dynamic tension of being uncomfortable, as opposed to, and that means outside of our comfort zone, as opposed to responding to what's in the way, which is fear, and doing something immediately to change how we feel. And the drug of choice would be food for most of the population. So let me get into some of my concepts for today, and then we'll continue with what time is left with the coaching commandments. So here we go. Words have power. And I saw some research about this. And it was the research on the don't versus can't versus from Vanessa Patrick. Vanessa Patrick studies research on desire and motivation. And she's a reporter. And so it's words have power, don't versus can't. So the application of this would be, I can't eat pastries. I can't eat flour and sugar. I can't eat other food outside of my plan versus I don't. So here was a study that she referenced. three groups. One, there was a 10-day food plan. Now, she didn't describe what the food plan was, but I would imagine it's has a lot of food not to be eaten. And one group had this choice that they responded to, I can't have anything outside of my food plan. A second group said, I don't eat outside of my food plan. And then the third used this, just say no. And what they were looking at is the compliance to staying on the food plan. And here's what they found. From the group that said, I can't, out of 10 days, 2 days compliance. From the group that said, I don't eat flour and sugar, I don't eat these things, they had 9.2 days. And the just say no group, they did better than the can group, but they had 5 days. And so words make a difference. Now, I want to point out something, that the most successful way to communicate with yourself is with the positive, with the desired result, not the undesirable difficulty. So even better than I don't eat this would be what the desired is. So rather than saying I don't eat flour and sugar, the better communication to your nervous system would be, I eat fruits and vegetables, I eat high fiber food, I eat high calorie density food, as opposed to I don't eat cookies. But putting that aside, and the reason is because when you don't want to motivate yourself with the negative, because in order to understand the negative, you have to form an image of that negative. So don't think of pink elephants. Don't do something. Your brain doesn't really hear the don't. Your brain goes to the image, and now you have the reinforcement of what it is that you don't want to entertain. So it's always better to motivate yourself with the desired result, not the undesirable difficulty. So I wouldn't say, I don't bite my nails. That's what I don't want. I would train myself to think in terms of what I do want, the desired result. And I would say, I have long, healthy nails. But anyway, putting that aside, this is important, that words do have power. I don't, much more powerful than I can't. Also, it's about identity. And I'm going to make a note of something to cover in the next call. I will take you through, let me make a note, next call. I'll take you through what happens mindset-wise when we say that I have to do something or I can't do something. So that's a little bit to look forward to in the December call. But anyway, identity. And what is our identity? Remember, we want to be driven by our identity, not how we feel. And I'll go back to this every call. It's worthwhile to do this. You want to win the first hour of every day. Let's go to your coaching commandments. Do you have your coaching commandments? We're going to add one. So find your coaching commandments. If you don't have them, send me an email, info@bobdavies.com, and I will send it to you, or you can spare me that. Go into the members area of bobdavies.com, go to documents and download your coaching commandments. I have that we have 58, and number 59 is win the first hour of the day. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't winning the first hour of the day. I was getting sloppy. I'd set the alarm. Let's say today, for example, I set the alarm for 4:15 a.m. And all of a sudden, as soon as the alarm went off, what did I feel like doing? Hitting the snooze, going back to sleep. Well, what would the identity choice be? What would the choice that's driven by identity, which equals excellence, what would that choice be? Well, that choice would be no snooze, get up, don't think, go to my office. And I have a home office, right? Built attached but separate. Now I have reinforced this with a behavior contract for this week where I'm being held accountable. No snooze or it's $100. So I have that reinforcement to drive the human instinct of avoiding the highest level of pain until it becomes habit. until something becomes habit, you need to have high level of accountability. But let's go and let's look further into this identity of excellence. And what it is that we want to do is I want to give you some homework on today's call. And the homework is this: identify the roles that you play in your health, business, and personal life. Now, I rarely give you homework, but take advantage of this. It's really one-on-one coaching in a group setting in this bi-monthly reinforcement call. So here's some homework. And if you would like, you can email it to me. I will put eyes on it. But identify the roles that you play. This is something I'm doing with my live coaching clients, so it's fresh on my mind. Identify the roles that you play in your health, business, and personal. And also, it's looking at identifying what your goals are: health, business, and personal. And towards this time of the year is a good time for reflection, a good time for evaluating what's worked, what hasn't worked. Once you identify your roles, and also equivalent of that would be your goals, take a look at number 2. Specifically define what excellence is. Now, this is the key. What is excellence? You have to bear with me. I'm going to walk to my refrigerator. So define what excellence is. So we have to be in reference to, we want to go from the vague, which is excellence, and goals. So it might look something like this. My goal might be, the big picture might be to be healthy. That's my goal. So now we want to break that down into what does that mean? What are the what are the metrics? So that could be a healthy weight, and going down even further as you visualize a funnel. Now we're going to go to what does that mean in terms of activities, key KPIs, key performance indicators. Well, I need to exercise. Well, of course, our eating is under control, but I need to exercise. Then we go even further than that. What does that mean for the next 7 days? And we go even further than that. What will I do today? So it goes from what I need to do to what I will do, and then we break it down even further. So let me give you some notes. Identify what the gap is. So this is what excellence is. And excellence is identified specifically for my health, my business, and my personal life. Now we want to look at the gap between what is the specific description of excellence and what is my present reality. Where am I different from where excellence is? And we're all going to find this. We're all going to find it. So then we take it from there and we look at what are the actions necessary to reduce that gap so that excellence is my present reality. And then of those actions necessary, what will I do the next 7 days? And then how about today or the next day, tomorrow? Win the first hour. And win the first hour, I was guilty of this because all right, so I've got the snooze handled, no more snoozing. And I'd get up at 4:15. By the time I got down into my office, it's 4:20, and get my workout gear squared away. I would jump on emails. And I might spend 90 minutes on emails, 4:30, 5:30, not getting into the gym until 6:30 sometimes. And that's a slot. I'm not winning the first hour if I do that. I'm reacting. Now think about this. Responding to an email is reacting. The illusion was that I'm getting something productive done, and that the way that we deplete willpower, I will take a break, go to the gym, re-energize myself. An illusion, rationalization. There's not a one of those emails that is urgent, that can't wait till I get back from the gym. Slay the toughest dragon first, win that first hour. And it was as simple as, what do I need to start? And what do I need to stop? It was as simple as that. I needed to start, wake up, go to the office, meditate, go to the gym. And I needed to stop, very specifically this time, I just needed to stop checking the emails. And then before I build this into a habit, number 7 down below, before it becomes a habit, I need a heavy dosage of accountability to reinforce this. All right, so this is our commitment to excellence. And a big part of this is the preparation. What do I need to do the next 7 days? And what's my commitment? What will I do over the next 7 days? Going from the actions that are necessary to what I commit to do this week. And when you do this, what you're doing is you're future pacing. That preparation in advance, which is why I say have a checklist. Have a checklist for all the matters of your life that you look at the night before. Here's what is most important for me to accomplish the next day. Do I have my food prepared? Do I have everything else prepared? What's my plan going to be? And what am I going to wear tomorrow? You don't want to use any energy to decide what you're going to wear tomorrow, right? And when you do future pace, look at what's happening in the brain. Everything that we do is about brain activation. And this is, if you remember the past and you project to the future, the same areas of the brain get activated, very similar areas of the brain. So in other words, this is why visualization, why athletes visualize, because you're getting another repetition. This is why I told my son, he's a sophomore, so he's not playing, but he is traveling with the varsity, and they're in the playoffs. They're having a great year. And I said, hey, you've got to know, he's playing defense and offense, but I'm more defensive oriented. I said, you've got to know what the defense is that's called. So stand next to the coach so that you know what the defense is, and then watch the player in your position so that you get a mental rep, because mental reps are almost as efficient as physical reps. And all kinds of studies have shown this. Now, you don't get the same intensity of activation from a mental rep that you do with a physical rep, but you still get activation. You still get reinforcement. And so I find him on the sideline, what he's doing, BSing with one of his friends. He had no idea what the defense is. And it just goes to tell you that there's something missing in me trying to coach my own family. But anyway, so we're always up against this. And all right, so now let's move forward. I have another concept for you before we get into some coaching commandments. And here's the concept. We are in a time of the year where both yourself, your employees, if you have employees, will begin to check out. We'll begin to go into holiday mode. And so the best thing you can do to prevent this is to get a timeline visual. What I would ask you to do is to count how many days are left that you're going to work this year. So I look at November. We're sitting here November 21st. And we've got Thanksgiving on the 23rd. So I've got 2 days this week. I'll be doing administrative stuff on Friday, but nothing planned really. So Thursday is Thanksgiving. That'll be off. So 2 days. Then I've got, looking at my calendar, and that's why I'm looking off to the side here, I've got 2 days in the next week, which, because I'm traveling, I have a speaking engagement in Chicago. So 2 days only there. So I have 4 days left of November. And then I have, I've got some travel, so I can't count those, but 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got about 14, 15, I've got about 16 days I calculate for November and then December. So what you want to do is you want to do this exercise for yourself and for employees, your company, if you have that, is get your body of work. How many days are left to the end of the year? And then from there, come up with an adjusted goals. Adjusted goal that you can inspect and verify. That's one of our number 12 coaching commandment, inspect and verify. And you want to prime the attention for both a minimum level commitment and a stretch commitment, and really have attention focused on that. And if each one of your employees do that, and they are observing, measuring, sprinting, being challenged, you'll get the best effort until the end of the year. And that's what you want to control. You want to control that. So here's a question for you. What's the difference? Are you a thermometer or are you a thermostat? So go ahead and unmute yourself. Let me see who we can chat with about this. So Tony, are you live?
I'm here.
So Tony, what's the difference between a thermometer and a thermostat?
A thermometer measures. A thermostat sets temperature.
That's right. And anything to add? Who's the 410? Who is that? Is that Greg?
That's mine.
I'm sorry?
I'm listening here 3 times.
Okay. Michael, any comment about what's the difference between a thermostat and a thermometer?
I couldn't really hear what was said, but I know that it regulates it. You can put it to whatever temperature you want, and it'll keep it at it. Where the thermostat just tells you whatever temperature it is.
That's right. And that's pretty much what Tony said as well. And one of our coaching daily videos is about the carrot, the egg, and the coffee bean. And a carrot is hard, firm. You put it in boiling water, the water changes it, and it comes out soft and mushy. An egg has a shell that's protecting the inside, the very sensitive inside fluid. Put it in the water changes it, and it comes out hard-boiled, hardened. The coffee bean, however, changes the environment. Put it into the boiling water, and it comes out with a beautiful aroma and beautiful tasting beverage. Although my wife has to throw a negative in here. She says, no, you have to grind the coffee bean. That example isn't accurate. All right, never mind. But anyway, the point is that how do we respond to our adversity? Do we respond in such a way that we change the environment for the better? Or do we have it change us? And that's what I love, this analogy of thermostat versus the thermometer, because the thermometer is reflecting the conditions of the outside, whereas the thermostat is changing the conditions, setting the conditions. It's programmed in and it reacts, and it makes sure that it controls the condition. And so that's why this visual, creating a visual of identified work days and creating a visual of what your goals are, and then tracking your activities, tracking what you can control. So that's a homework assignment for everybody. So in addition to the homework of identify what excellence is for you, also, what about an adjusted timeline for the rest of the year? If you do that, you'll be more productive than if you don't, because we start getting bombarded right now. We get bombarded with Christmas songs and Christmas thinking and purchasing, and Black Friday is coming up. So we need to keep a degree of control. Now, thermostat or thermometer. I drew this picture. I was pretty impressed with myself. I showed it to my wife. She was not so impressed. Anyway, I am the artist of this. And what I want to show here is that regardless of outside circumstances, like the late, great Jim Rohn says, it's the setting of the sails. That regardless of what's coming your way, you can adjust. So if this captain of this beautiful ship here wants to go in that direction, but the wind is blowing in that direction, or the wind is blowing quartering, the setting of the sails, you can still have your desired effect, but you have to set your sails differently. What is the setting of the sails? Well, the wind coming against us right now, what that wind is that's the holiday mindset. So we need to set our sails. to make forward progress and be productive. How do you set your sails? You set your sails through specific identification of what it is you want to accomplish in a short period of time, how many days you have left this in November, December to work, and then the specific actions you're going to take, how you're going to measure, a visual for measurement, and then accountability. That's how we set our sails. All right, so we've got about 8 minutes or so left in our call today, and let me see if we're going to do any coaching commandments. I think that what we'll do is stop here, and I'll end with any comments that you have. And on our next call, I will do that. I have to mindset, which will make it very, I think that's a very strong visual I'm going to give you. We'll go back into coaching commandments on the next call, and then anything else that comes up. But before we end today, anybody have, how about this? Anybody have any gratitudes or celebrations? Let's do that. Gratitudes or celebrations, anybody?
I got one.
Yes, Mike.
I just want to say I'm grateful that I can fit in my pants that I haven't been able to wear for about a year. And winter's here, so nice and warm.
I tell you what, I'm thrilled to hear that. And likewise, I have a pair of jeans that I used to wear when I was dating my wife. Now, here's what not to say to your wife. Don't say to your wife, I can fit into the jeans that I was wearing when we were dating. Can you fit into your wedding gown?
Oh.
Do not say that to your wife. All right. So, Tony, what are you grateful for? I bet you'll be grateful for better sound quality next call, but go ahead and see if we can make it out. What are you grateful for?
I consider myself the luckiest man in the world. I have great children, grandchildren, girlfriend. I'm playing tennis. I'm healthy. Life is good.
And it's I'm not big on Pollyanna. Pollyanna, the pile of crap, and the young girl says, I know there's a pony in there.
Right.
But what I'm big on is science. And what science says is that the nature of your thinking absolutely affects brain activation, and that you can influence what area of the brain is activated. You can influence what the biochemistry is of the brain, that just through thought alone, you can release endorphins. Through thought, endorphins are opiates. Through thought alone, you can, you saw the slide in today's program, but through thought alone, you can fire the reward circuitry. Through thought alone, you can release dopamine, and you can impact your mood through thought alone. And so all I can say is that we have to be the guardian of our thinking. And so let's just, one of the ways that you really activate the septum area of the brain, which is in the limbic area of the brain, which releases the serotonin, which is peaceful mood, which releases dopamine, which is motivation and alertness. One of the ways that you activate that area of the brain, and that you inhibit the amygdala, which is the arousal, emotional, cortisol-driven area of the brain, is through gratitude and appreciation. All right, so the next call, remember, by the way, preparation. Send me weekly prep. Use the weekly prep sheet that we have. It primes. Next call, we'll talk about attention as well and how you prime attention. So I'll make a note of that to make sure that we include that on the next call, prime attention. And so it primes what you pay attention to when you prepare in advance. So go to the members area of the website, download your weekly preparation sheet, fill it out every week, send it in. So that makes a difference. All right, everyone. So December 12th, the next call. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you on the next call.